So here, if you take the term cell, how the word was discovered, and what other things related to cell, all those things we'll learn in this chapter. Now here I have shown a picture of a plant cell. So many labeling parts are there over here. We'll learn all these things individually in the further sessions. Okay. Now when it comes to the word cytology, here there's a word on the slide called cytology. So when you see that word, you can indirectly say that it's not an English word. Okay. Now what does this word stand for? This word explains cyto means a cell, and log stands for study. So the study of the whole cell, its structure and composition, and the functional aspects of a cell is nothing but the cytology. Okay. So generally what people will get into misconclusion that cytology is nothing but study of cell only. But it includes even the structural aspect, its composition, and even the functional aspect of the cell. Okay. Now, if we get into the history of how cell was discovered. Okay. Now, the great contribution to the discovery of cell has come from a scientist who's basically an architect by name Robert Hooke. Okay. Now he, being an architect, was very particular in his profession. So he used to observe all the wood materials before he gave for service. So during 16th century, what happened is he by himself made an instrument which almost looks like this. Instrument with different lenses and mirrors. He tried to observe through this instrument the cork cells of a tree. How many of you know the word cork? Yeah?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Yeah, Akshat, tell.
Ma'am, cork is a substance which is made from the bark of trees or something.
Yeah,
It is
cork
really,
is, yeah.
It is really smooth sometimes.
No. Actually, cork is a material, as Akshat said, a kind of part from the bark of a thick trunked wood trees. Okay. Yeah, Veda wants to say something. Piece of wood. Okay. Not exactly wood. Above the wood, if you see big trunk trees, you'll find hard structures. We call them as bark patches. From that patches, when he observed under his made instrument, which now we are calling as microscope, he observed some structures like this. Can you see the pic? Yeah. So here, what he had observed was a closely associated compartment-like things, or you can say closely associated rooms like structure. Now, he thought them as minute part of the bark or minute part of the cork and named it as cell. So, the word cell was given by Robert Hooke. The cell word has originated from a root Latin word called cellulae. Cellulae. That means chamber or compartment. Okay. But to the surprise, Robert Hooke didn't actually observe the exact cell, but he observed only the dead cell wall of this cork cell. So he observed only the outer membrane of the cell, which we call as cell wall. Okay. Now, all his findings, so what he had observed under microscope, what he had concluded through his observations, all these he published in a book called Micrographia. What's the book name? Micrographia. Okay. Now, if Robert Hooke is not the one who observed the exact living cell, then who is the other scientist who first made observation of the living cell? He is nothing but Anton von Leeuwenhoek. He is basically a Dutch scientist. Okay. Now, what Leeuwenhoek observed is he used microscope, not as crude as the Robert Hooke instrument, and he collected some drainage water, rainwater, and things like where you can see the spoilage of material. So when he observed all these things under microscope, he came to know that there are some living things which are very minute and can't be seen through naked eye, those rainwater and gutter water, etc. So then he concluded that what Robert Hooke observed under his microscope was cell wall. Within that cell wall, Leeuwenhoek observed the living cells. So the discovery of cell term credit goes to Robert Hooke, but the discovery of first living cell credit goes to this Dutch scientist called Anton von Leeuwenhoek. So Robert Hooke observed only cell wall of the cork, which is nothing but a dead cell wall. And the living cell was observed by Leeuwenhoek. Okay, am I clear with that part of history regarding cell?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Kavya. Yeah. So these are the major two contributions. After that, the remaining contributions done by various scientists telling about what are the parts of the cell, what cell actually functions in an organism, and cell theory at last was proposed by various scientists. Okay, we go through the topic, we'll come across with different scientists who had contributed more efforts to rediscover the different aspects of cell. Okay, so these are the two main starting contributions to the cytology. What is cytology?
It is the study of cells.
Yeah. Then, not only cell, what I said, cell, cell structure, cell composition, and functional aspects of cell. Yes, Naisha. Yeah, true. Good response, Naisha.